Women read you before you even see their face. Not your watch, not your smile. She feels your presence. Why? Because your nervous system walked into the room 10 steps ahead of you. And if it wasn't grounded, centered, and calm, she knows in a heartbeat. Women notice your state, your energy, not your style first. You see, women feel presence and emotion in a far greater capacity due to biological and social factors. And whether they admit it or not, that's what actually turns them on. You could walk in wearing $1,000 cologne and still get friend-zoned. Meanwhile, some guy in Crocs just got a number without saying a damn word. And the difference wasn't money, it wasn't height, or some slick pickup line. It was that energy he carried, and she felt all of it. Men spend years perfecting the wrong things, like their wardrobe, their jawline, and even their bank account, and still wonder why they get passed over by average women. Let me tell you, there's plenty of millionaires that are downright awful at getting noticed by women. Same with fashionistas and suit gurus. They can dress up, but there's no hiding how they come across. They try to impress her eyes, but forget she's listening with her entire body. This video will rewire how you show up in every room. You'll understand what she sees, what she feels, and what makes her melt. You'll learn what women actually notice first and how to master it. And by the end, you'll know the one thing that bypasses everything else when it comes to attention. And if you don't listen properly, you'll just keep hearing, "You're a great guy," but you'll keep losing to men, not with more money, looks, or status, but guys who know how to just be, while you were busy trying to impress. This is about influence, confidence, power. We'll go layer by layer on presence, posture, expression, and emotional control. You'll see exactly how women size you up without saying a word. And buried in all of this is one gold standard trait that brings them all together. If you build these, she won't just notice you, she won't forget you. Let me tell you something a lot of guys never hear to start off with. A woman doesn't need you, and that's not an insult. It's just the truth of the world we live in now. She can make money, she can build a business, she can raise a child and survive. So if you're walking into a relationship trying to become a need, you're already screwing it up, because women don't chase necessity. They chase the thing that makes them feel safe choosing you. That's the word most guys ignore, safety. They ignore it, but safety is actually everything. Not exactly physical protection. She's not expecting to get mugged today. She's talking about emotional stability, consistency, and deep-rooted confidence. Can you hold down her chaos without letting it wreck your clarity? Can you be a container instead of another leaky cup? I learned this the hard way in my early 20s. I thought being enough meant having abs and making jokes, but every relationship would fall apart, and I didn't know why until one girl finally said, "I just don't feel safe." And that shattered me. But that one girl's honesty unlocked everything. There I was, smug as fuck, thinking I was doing everything right. But looking back, my nervous system was all over the place. If I watched a video of myself back then, I can only imagine what I looked like. I was reactive, chasing validation, and addicted to performance and approval. She could feel it, and it pulled her away. And here's what I figured out. Women will feel you before they understand you. If your foundation is cracked, it's gonna show up everywhere. And it'll never be what you said, it'll be how you showed up. So the question isn't, how do I impress her? It's, how do I show up in a way that she trusts? Let's break down the real cues women are wired to notice, because they're not looking for flashy, they're scanning for confidence. Trust isn't built by how much you say, it's built by how well you handle silence. If you fidget, overtalk, or try to impress her every second, you're broadcasting that your self-worth depends on her attention. And there is nothing more unattractive than desperation in a tailored suit. Major red flag. When a woman sees a man who can sit still, calm, clear, and unfazed, she feels held, not physically, but emotionally, energetically, psychologically. It tells her this man can handle life, so maybe he can handle me. And when your energy stays grounded, even when she tests it, that's when trust starts to build. That's why I tell men it's not about saying the right thing, it's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't need to. You can't perform your way into respect. She smells performance instantly. What she's scanning for is congruence. Do your words and your nervous system match? Another thing she's picking up on without ever realizing it is posture. Not gym gains, not height, not your traps, but posture. Posture is that quiet signal of how much weight you carry. If you collapse your chest, if you fidget, if you look down nervously, it all screams insecurity. But when your body tells the truth, calm shoulders, chin up, breathing slow, you're saying, I'm not here to take from you, I'm here to hold you. And that subtle shift in your spine, it changes the entire room. It's primal, it's ancient, it's hardwired into her brain before she ever spoke a word. Posture not only corrects your height, makes you look less lazy and sluggish, it also shows that you take pride in your own presence. And look, all this might sound like a lot, like you've got to walk in perfect and rehearse every move. But what if there was one thing that overrides all of this? A trait so rare it short circuits her filters and drops her guard immediately. Well, to truly appreciate that, you need to understand the golden emotional blueprint she's operating on, because until you know what she needs to feel in her body, you'll keep trying to fix her mind and wonder why it never works. Here's the part no one teaches men. Her attraction isn't logical. It's not he's tall or he has money or he looks safe. It's a feeling deep in her gut, in her nervous system. And if you don't know how to speak that language, she disconnects instantly, and it's very hard to gain that attention back. She's scanning you for emotional safety before she ever thinks about sex. But emotional safety doesn't mean being soft or always agreeing with her. It means, are you stable when she isn't? Can you lead when she's in her storm without needing her to be calm? Every woman has had her trust broken, emotionally, physically, energetically. So when she meets you, her body is checking for danger. If you come in too fast, too eager, too intense, her guard shoots up and she doesn't even know why. You don't want to remind her of some previous overly aggressive ex or abusive father. We got to be considerate here, gentlemen. When you slow down and stay anchored in your own body, she relaxes, she opens, she breathes deeper without realizing it. You're not charging in at her, you're respecting your own space and your own presence while keeping hers in mind too. You've created an environment her nervous system can rest in, and that's when attraction becomes undeniable. That's why I tell men you're not chasing her approval, you're inviting her body into a space where it feels safe. And once her nervous system says, oh, I can exhale here, that's when her desire starts to build, even if she doesn't say a word. And here's another thing she picks up on. It's silent, but it's potent. Your relationship to other people. If she sees you treat a waiter like game over. But if she sees you lead others with calm, respect, and clarity, that's what turns her head when you're not looking. How you move in a room, how people listen when you speak. It tells her something primal. This man doesn't compete, he commands. And that commanding presence is something she feels, not something that you flex. But again, there's still one trait that will bypass all of this for you. If you've actually put some of this into practice and solidified the ability to control yourself and feel comfortable and confident in a room, this trait is the next step. I'll show you the reason why she's going to lean in before you even say a word. And the second we break that down, it's going to flip the whole game. You will never go unnoticed again. You want to be unforgettable? Be the man who changes her internal story about men. I hinted at this earlier if you were listening closely. Not by preaching, not by pleasing. Change her perspective of men by how you live. Because the deepest part of her isn't looking for a show, it's looking for proof that the story can end differently this time. Every woman you meet has chapters written in pain, lies that she believed, moments she hid, men who took without earning, and whether she shows it or not, that narrative is still running. What makes you different isn't your edge, it's your impact. She might not remember your car, she might forget the compliments, but she'll never forget how you made her feel safe enough to soften. Not just sexually, but spiritually. You bypass her checklist when you hold her past without flinching. When your consistency reprograms what inconsistency taught her to expect. When you bring clarity where confusion once lived. That's not romance, that's recalibration. So if you want to be the man she still thinks about years later, become the man who showed her, I don't have to protect myself with you. Not because you said the right thing, but because you never gave her a reason to armor up in the first place. You're starting to get it now, yeah? It's not about checking boxes, it's about breaking patterns, because every man she's forgotten did the same predictable shit. But the ones she can't forget, he left a mark on her nervous system. And there's one way to do that. We're about to get into it. So stay with me, because this last piece will change everything. Forget what she said was her type. Forget what the internet told you that women want. None of that really matters when she's around a man who makes her feel like home. The man who rewrites her story, who shows her something new. That man doesn't beg for attention, he anchors it. You want to be unforgettable? Be calm in the chaos. Be the one she never has to heal from. And check out the video on the screen if you want even more advice on how to lock in once you've brought her closer.